You just died and God shows you your life stats. What's your most impressive stat? Quote, askreddit. Idini. The hours I procrastinated, extremedes, 5,910. And the amount of times I've opened the incognito tab to make a stupid search. Moist underscore replacement underscore 29. 8,627. The amount of times I made the worst possible choice when given a storyline path changer. Smiles underscore will underscore help. 12,574. You have the most average stats of all the people I have seen. Bandit of Bingo fame, 1581. Amount of trees planted, Satay Chuk, 2,849. Times I've been told, I love you, by my family. My parents told me every single day growing up as I left the house. When I returned to the house and at bedtime. As well as a smattering here and there. They still say it every single time we talk or text. My wife and I say it 20 times a day to each other for the past 30 years. My older kids tell me they love me almost every time I talk to them, and my youngest says it at least once or twice every day. I feel loved by my family the most. Everyone else thinks I'm an asshole though. A post 8n8, 2,760. Oh, that's easy. The amount of times I went the extra mile to avoid getting in contact, asking someone else. Somewhere in my late 20s I learned it the hard way in a job where I simply had to, but prior to that, boy, I mastered the introvert skill tree. Interesting gear 819. 1771. Time spent pooping, CG 1991, 1471. People who didn't masturbate or have sex until the age of 20 plus. What's your story? askreddit. Scott Valentine 808. 23 years for me. Never had a load that size since. Left lump, 5,417. Not me, but the only kid that didn't masturbate at school ended up becoming an MI5/6 agent. Always found that interesting. I walk always. 3,517. I was homeschooled, and I left my neighborhood when I was 31. I never had any friends, and never knew it existed before, because my mom told me that touching down there is rude. So I never did. Imagine my surprise when I learn everybody does it. Training underscore let 4946. 7,533. We were Jehovah's Witnesses. Self-abuse was a sin. Then I got disfellowshipped. I ended up losing my virginity with a guy before I'd ever masturbated. He knew more about my body than I did. I thought he was a magician for making me cum. Perky buzz. 3,451. Worked at a grocery store. Had one coworker who was always really nice to me. Like overly nice. I thought she just thought of me as a friend. Until one day the subject about sex came up when we were doing the close for the store. She brought up some of the stuff she had done. Then asked about me. I was 21 at the time and told her that I hadn't ever done anything. She laughed a bit, but more in disbelief than in jest. Later that night I was playing BF1 with the boys and texting her. She was over at a friend's house and had been drinking. And somehow the conversation turned over to us betting about something. I wagered I'd tell her something truly embarrassing I had done in high school. Her response was, "Okay, but if I'm right, I'm taking your virginity." I still thought she was joking. That is until we made date plans and went fishing. I hadn't known they could make cutoff jean shorts so short. After that we went on another date. Then back to my place to watch the movie. And she took her winnings from the bet. We fooled around for about a month and a bit, but between my inexperience with women and how to treat them, and my own stupidity, I was a bit of an ass, so she broke up with me. In hindsight I totally understand why. And then dated the same dude for like 4 years. I think of her sometimes and hope she's doing okay. She was a good person who had a lot of shitty things happen to her. but was poised to be super successful in her schooling for post-secondary. She graduated post-secondary and became a dental technician last I saw. I'm happy for her, and I hope her life is as beautiful as she deserves it to be. Do not trust anything. 4069. I just didn't know it was a thing. Looking back, I think it was because it was more common for people to talk about how guys did it, and with women, it was sort of like this mystery that you had to find out or solve on your own. At one point, I remember listening to a podcast clip saying something along the lines of, if you don't know your own body, then how do you expect your partner to know? And that pushed me to look into it. Faded Lavender. 396. Lost virginity at 26. I am autistic and have trouble with social cues and expressing my feelings, plus an aversion to the feeling of being rejected. I met a lovely girl on the internet who I really clicked with. Started a long-distance relationship and met her a couple of months later. As I already had an overseas trip planned and tacked more travel on the end, I met up with her and had a great weekend of sex. Bucket_boy 101. 103. Plagued by social anxiety in my teens and early 20s. Wasn't in a proper relationship until I was 26. To whom I lost my virginity. TBH. I wouldn't want it any other way now. I am glad I lost it to someone I truly cared about. And the subsequent relationships I've been in, the sex has gotten better and better. Crumum Booty. 1198. What illegal thing do you do on a regular basis? Askreddit. Center_power_unit. During football season 1, provide verbal accounts of the game without consent of the NFL. In proven mortality. 4597. When I was a kid, I thought it was normal that we could buy movies the day after they came out, from The Chinese Lady in the Chicken Shop. I didn't realize it was a crime until middle school when I told someone my grandma had Avatar on DVD. And they said that was impossible since the movie was still in theaters. Plastic Schedule 6349. 6572. I illegally jaywalk all the time. I just can't resist the thrill of crossing the street wherever I please. Darkness Overload. 4225. I download a new car every other day. Kaiwin, 1556. Allowing my donkey to sleep in my bathtub in the state of Arizona. Texark confirmed, 2319. I don't engage in any activities, legal or illegal. Still Creme 1931, 2551. Murd. Drugs. CC Mini Warhammer, 1485. Illegally downloading movies from pirated sites. And illegally using pirated software. Searching Love_Queen. 1578. What's a random decision you made years ago that ended up having a huge impact on your life? Askreddit. Substantial Worth 603. It was 1998. I had about $1 left in my allowance. And I was wandering around some shops trying to decide how to spend it. I was initially going to buy some candy, but I walked past a used bookstore that was having a 99-cent sale. I decided to get a book instead, and also randomly decided to maximize my investment by buying whatever book had the most pages. XA0. I ended up with a huge instruction manual on something called HTML. I'd never heard of HTML and didn't know what it was. But I took it home and started messing with the computer. XA0Q. A 20-year career. First in tech, and then in tech-adjacent fields. That has taken me all over the world. I still have the book. IDS_of_meh. 4311. Read a blog post where the author talked about how he just got a job at Google writing JavaScript and encouraging other JS nerds to apply. I am normally too shy to talk to strangers on the internet, but decided to give it a go because I still don't know why I got the job. So was able to follow my scientist girlfriend to America. Spent 17 years there. Married her. Had a kid. Made good money. Got to design a few things billions of people around the world use every day. And made some incredible friends. If I hadn't read that blog post and had been in a certain mood that day, none of that would have happened. Just do it. Friendsin. 1555. I've posted this before, but what the hey? There was one donut left. My brother and I fought over it. At times physically. He got me in a headlock and I pleaded for it. He finally agreed, so long as I gassed his car up for him. Because he had a date that night. Up to this point, you may have assumed we were children. No. We were 18 and 20. Anywho, I drove his car to the gas station. He had Stairway to Heaven playing in there and I was lost in thought, so I didn't bother to change it. I pull into the gas station and the hottest guy the first have ever seen is standing on the other side of the pump. And he has Stairway to Heaven playing in his car. He smirked at me and I pretended to share his affinity for the artist. It was Led Zeppelin, but at the time I thought the song was by Pink Floyd or something. That was my first BF. Midnight Son of a Bitch. 342. In 1999, the project I was working on, a joint project between a French and an Italian company, and it was close to the finish. We had a party to celebrate the completion of the work. And the party was well lubricated with good French wine. We ended up doing stupid drunk games. And in a game of dare, someone dared me to send a resume to Microsoft and I did. I had completely forgot about it, and a few weeks later my phone rang at 8:30 p.m. and Megan from Redmond was telling me that they were interested in an interview. It took her about 5 minutes to convince me that it wasn't a prank. She was laughing loud, but a few weeks later I had an interview in Paris, and a month later they flew me into Redmond for a further loop. 9 months later I was moving to the US with a dream job. You can call it random. You can call it providential. But it was definitely something I would have never even put in the realm of the possible. Old_fart 5070 873 accepted a job offer in a city I'd never visited. It led to a career I love, lifelong friends, and meeting my partner. Sometimes the best decisions are the ones you make on a whim. Strong document 8314 537. Tried a new hobby on a whim. Now it's my career. Funny how life works sometimes. Classic runoff 622. When I was 19 I was browsing Craigslist at midnight, as one does when they are bored. I happened to see a listing for a small Chihuahua puppy. Did I need a dog? Was I financially responsible enough for a dog? Did I even live somewhere where I could have a dog? No, absolutely not. But I shot a text to the person anyway, not expecting a response since it was so late. They immediately replied and asked me to meet up the next day. I literally slept in past our meeting time because I was up so late. But they still agreed to meet up with me. And I came home with my best friend. The person was adamant on getting rid of her. She had ringworm and wasn't spayed. An anxious, abused little thing. At first they were asking a rehoming fee, but gave her to me for free because I seemed _good enough _. Yeah, I vowed to get my shit together for her, because there was no way in hell that I would let her go to someone that wouldn't take care of her. Like that again. She gives me a reason to get out of bed. I pulled the last of my scrap money together to get her fixed. All her shots. And all her supplies. Moved in with my boyfriend so she has a 2-acre yard to run around in. I learned how to crochet and sew to make her sweaters and blankets, ended up making a small business out of it. And I just recently got a WFH job so I can cuddle up with her 24/7 while working. I trained her as best as I could. She knows underscore so underscore many commands and is the best behaved dog I've ever met. Other people think so too. She's my soulmate. I can't imagine how terrible my life would be right now if I never replied to that Craigslist ad. Weird connections. 594. 10 years ago, I was at the airport and I saw a person studying a French workbook. Like the ones students use in high school. I speak fluent French. So on a whim, I asked him why he was studying it. He said that was traveling to a French-speaking country on vacation. I thought I would never see him again, but he asked for my number before he boarded the plane. Lots of things happened after that, but he's asleep next to me right now. Humidvanda. 188.